This is Bill Brady, One United Body, talking on the topic of your call as an apostle. I wanted to do a little bit of review today, and then I want to discuss how to begin, where to begin. The name apostle has 5 names associated with it, and I've gone through this in the parts of my Patreon. First one is proclaimer of revealed truth, what would have been translated as evangelist previously. And I'm using proclaimer of revealed truth so that it doesn't bring the old wineskin baggage into our understanding of what it means to be an evangelist. Proclaimer of revealed truth is simply one who has seen heavenly realm truths and is now publishing or proclaiming or heralding those truths. The key thing about proclaiming is it does not involve explaining in detail, so you do not have to have a complete handle on a particular heavenly realm topic to be able to proclaim it. You can publish pages written by others onto your Facebook or onto other Facebook dialogues of other people, other groups, other ecclesias. You can proclaim revealed truth on a chat. So there's different ways of functioning and proclaiming revealed truth, and it does not require you to be an expert. So it's a good place to begin. Jesus called the 12 apostles to be with him and that he might send them out. And the first sending he did was to send them out in pairs to the villages that he was later going to go to himself. And what they did in those villages in their pairs was proclaim revealed truth. They didn't have to be an expert. They didn't have to be a teacher that had a full understanding. They were proclaiming revealed truth. Now, there is proclaiming of a revealed truth to someone who's not yet awakened to who they are in Christ. So it can be a beginning kind of thing, but I see it more importantly as proclaiming any new truth that has not yet been revealed to a particular person or a particular group, ecclesia. So Jesus proclaimed the kingdom of God to those who already, well, in old wineskin terms, were born again. So you must be born again. Unless you're born again, you cannot enter the kingdom of God. So he was proclaiming the revealed truth of the kingdom to those who had a born again experience, or maybe we would say had awakened to the truth of being alive in God, alive in Jesus. It didn't require an understanding of the kingdom. He just proclaimed the basic truths of the kingdom. Take this same principle and proclaim the basic truths of heavenly realms. You may simply begin with, you don't have to wait until you die to have an experience of heaven by encounter. Basic truths. You look through the internet, you'll find various people out there that are publishing one-line statements to a group of people multiple times a day. That is proclaiming of revealed truth. Afterwards, you'll see that there's 20 or more people that are agreeing with the statement. So that person has seen their target audience. He knows where they are in their journey and their growth, and he's proclaiming revealed truth to them, exactly what they need. Now, there's a need to proclaim newly revealed truth to people that are ready for that newly revealed truth, but there's a need to proclaim heavenly realms truth that was revealed quite a while ago to people who have not yet seen that revealed truth. They've not seen that. It's still a mystery. It's still hidden to them. So these groups that you see on the Facebook that are functioning in this, I would take that same method, but I would use higher level heavenly realms truth. My objection to many of those groups is, no, let me phrase that better. What I see is they've fallen into the stumbling block of all agreeing that the old wineskin church was a terrible place. And what they're doing is they're all agreeing out of their hurt. And I don't see in many cases that there's a proclaiming of revealed truth that involves a journey of leaving this place, of having left the old wineskin church and going on to higher identity in heavenly realms, to other names, and going on to New Jerusalem and so on. So that same method can be used to proclaim revealed truth, but be more purposeful in what you're proclaiming, because what you're attempting to do is to move people along on their journey by proclaiming the next revealed truth, a combination of revealed truths that they all are going to agree to, so they all have this sense, I'm in the right group. And what's happened is they've been gathered into the right group. I'm in the right group with other people just like me in the same place on my journey, but then you put enough revealed truth that's the next steps in there to get them moving from where they are to where they can move into the next levels of identity. You have a sense of the journey, you've been on the journey, and when you're functioning back in this very early parts of the journey, you can be very purposeful in what you proclaim, and you can take a look at the group that you've gathered together and see that they actually are following you. Proclaim truth. Okay, so proclaiming revealed truth. The next name of apostle to function is gathering the scattered children. Now, this involves bringing them into a group, into an ecclesia, into a family. And this family is gathered around truths that have been revealed that you have proclaimed. They have said yes to what you've proclaimed, and they've gathered into a chat group, in many cases onto a Facebook page. And you actually can get some of them into an encounter group, and so that it ends up being functioning as a family that's not only journeying together, but is working together in the identity that's been revealed to them by proclamation of revealed truth, proclaiming revealed truth. So you're always gathering people into the next revealed truth that you've proclaimed. You see that. The third name of the apostle is explainer of revealed truth, which is teacher. So let's look at this again. You proclaim revealed truth, you gather the scattered people into this revealed truth, then you start explaining it to the ones that you've gathered. It's the same group that you're proclaiming higher and higher revealed truth as you go along, but the whole process begins with proclaiming revealed truth, gathering them into this revealed truth, then explaining the revealed truth to the ones that you've gathered, and continue to proclaim further revealed truth to them. In biblical terms, the ones that are gathered are the disciples, the ones that are ready to be taught, the ones that are ready to have an explanation of revealed truth. And this is where you actually need to start having some knowledge and understanding, and you're functioning in those of the spirits of seven spirits of God. And you get the knowledge and understanding by answering questions and doing discovery yourself, functioning as a revealer of mysteries to get the answers that you need to give to those who are asking questions, including you. Okay, so proclaiming revealed truth, gathering the folks into the group, into the ecclesia, into the family that's gathering around this proclaimed revealed truth, explaining the revealed truth to those who you gathered, and then the next function is revealer of mysteries. And this is a function that we all learn to function in as being part of an encounter group. You came to your first encounter group and you had that wonderful experience of finding out that you could see and you could hear, and that you were just like the other people in the encounter group, and that you were able to participate and get revelation and share that revelation with the group. Revealer of mysteries is best caught and taught in an encounter group. It's the equivalent of the Old Testament school of the prophets. Elijah was a revealer of mysteries, so I'm using that term for prophet. So you don't bring the old wineskin baggage of what a prophet is. You don't want to hang your shingle out that says prophet so-and-so. Revealer of mysteries, Elijah raised up a son named Elisha, but he also trained up a whole group called the School of the Prophets. And it looks to me like he had a school of prophets in several different towns, one per town. Or anyway, I don't know if they're just moving from town to town with him. But anyway, there was a group, one individual that he trained one-on-one to a very high level function as a revealer of mysteries, to the level that he was able to take over when Elijah was taken up in the whirlwind to heaven. And Elisha took over from Elijah. But then there's this whole group of School of the Prophets, sons of the prophets, that Elijah also was training up. And I see that we do that function of training up the group in the encounter group. That's where they learn, oh, I can hear. Oh, I can see. This heavenly realms thing really is for me. I can function as part of an encounter group. I fit into this family. I am participating just like they are. Person that's facilitating is modeling what it means to be a revealer of mysteries and a facilitator of others into becoming revealers of mysteries. So here's another thing, that you begin to function in proclaim or reveal truth, but then you also train up others to proclaim revealed truth, like I'm doing right now. You begin to function in gathering the scattered children, the ones that have not, they're just beginning to enter into this revelation, this particular revelation you're proclaiming. Then you explain the revealed truth to them, but the whole time you're also in the process of training up them to function in proclaiming of revealed truth. And you're training up them to functioning and gathering the scattered into the ecclesia, into the group, into the family, around this newly revealed truth that you've proclaimed. And that you're functioning, you're training them up into functioning as explainers of a real truth. They get this first by watching you do it, and then by stepping out and doing it themselves. And same thing with a revealer of mysteries. You are training up revealers of mysteries in an encounter group. It becomes a fathering group when there's addition of explanation in here, and so you're functioning and teaching. And there's impartation going on, there's activations going on, and so on. That's when it becomes a fathering group. So where do you begin? Well, begin with your strength. If your strength is explaining revealed mysteries, then gather a group around you that will respond to your explanation or revealing of mysteries. But if you don't yet feel comfortable in explaining revealed mysteries, you don't feel like you've got enough knowledge or whatever, at some point you're going to start in small groups or just one-on-one doing that. I mean, you're growing in this all the time. As long as you're opening your mouth and you're doing some explanation to somebody, you're growing in your ability as an explainer of revealed truth. But let's say you're much more comfortable and you do hear really well and you do see really well, well, then begin by gathering an encounter group around you and train these people up as revealers of mysteries. That's where you begin, because that's what you're already good at. So I talked to someone recently that's joining us for the first time, is coming to us for the first time, and they have already functioned as a prophet in the old wineskin. Well, someone that's done that just needs a little bit of retooling. You know, you trade out of some of the old and you trade into some of the new. But someone that has that skill already developed as a revealer of mysteries, they've already been functioning in that All you need to do is get a little bit of retooling so that you're functioning as a revealer of mysteries in the heavenly realms, and then you're the perfect person to facilitate an encounter group and train others up in becoming a revealer of mysteries. If you come to heavenly realms and you've been teaching for a long time, well, then you're the one that needs to start immediately, soon after. I mean, once you've got enough trading out of the old and trading into the new that you're not going to just bring the old into the new, you've begun the process of coming out of the old into the new, well, then start with doing some explaining of revealed truth, of this new heavenly realms truth to people. Function in that first. Gather people for a fathering group in the sense at the level that you're at. That's the thing about this term apostle. An apostle is a laborer or a worker in the harvest. I keep coming back to this, and why I've got this emphasis, this mandate to raise up apostles, is because apostles are workers. And a whole lot of other people are receivers, but are not yet workers. So find the one of the 5 names. Maybe it's proclaimer, revealed truth. Maybe it's explainer of mysteries. Maybe it's revealer of mysteries that you do have experience in, and function in that in the new wineskin, and begin to work at functioning in all 5 of these names. The 4 names first, and then apostle, which I say sent sender is the term I'm using for that. Build your way up from one name to another. So start with one name, then add another name that you're functioning in, add another name you're functioning in, until you're functioning in all 4 of these names. And the apostle, a sent sender, functions in all 4 names, including the name sent sender, which means that you have not only had a calling, which is an initial sending, you've been going through this process of preparation, which is character development. It's the burning away of the old. It's saying yes to the consuming fire of Holy Spirit, burning the old out of you, bringing you into the new. Finally, once you've grown in functioning in all 4 of these other names, you will finally have you've gone through initial calling. Preparation's been ongoing for much of your lifetime, and you've done your training initially. I mean, you've watched somebody else functioning in these names, and then you started to function in them yourself, and now comes a final sending. The final sending where you're sent out in the fullness of this. But the thing about apostle is it functions at any level in heavenly realms. So think of the spiritual ages. You've got the church age, then you have the kingdom age. If all you know is kingdom age, you can function as an apostle or any one of the 5 names. So you could function as proclaimer, revealed truth, or explainer, revealed truth, and so on, at the kingdom age level. But with more growth, you can function in the age of Melchizedek as an apostle. The functions of the apostle, you're having layers of identity that are added on top of the name apostle. I mean, kingship's there and priesthoods there and so on. But the thing about it is, if you've traded into apostle and you've grown into apostle, and these 4 other names that make up apostle, you've been working the entire time on your journey. Instead of sitting in your seat in the classroom and learning from others, you've actually been learning as you go. I call it on-the-job training. This is the way you really, really grow, is as by giving out as you're receiving in. There's this flow that happens, this journey that begins, and you just continue on the journey, because at some point you made the decision to become a laborer in the harvest, a worker in the harvest, and to start functioning in these names. That's the difference between people that are coming to receive and people that always have a mindset and a desire to give out of what they've already received, is that they've begun to function in these names at whatever level they're at. You don't have to wait to become functioning in the Zion or something, or New Jerusalem or New Beginning, to be able to start functioning as a worker. You can function as a worker at the kingdom age level and continue to grow. And those that you are working with, the ones that you're gathering, will follow on behind you for the whole journey as you make the journey. This moves into fathering. You become a forerunner that goes before others. An apostle is a forerunner. You become a forerunner that goes before others, and they follow behind you, and your forerunning moves into fathering. And this whole process ends up being a long line of people that are walking the same path that you have forerun, and they're walking right behind you, and there's your sons. This is how functioning apostle moves into fathering. None of this happens if you don't start by functioning in at least one of these names. So that's the importance of picking one of these names that you're most comfortable with and start functioning in it. That's why you keep on hearing me talking about the need to become a worker. So, the importance of becoming a worker. The importance of being gathered into the ecclesia by someone who's functioning as a gatherer of the scattered. If we don't actually begin to function in this, then it's all just classroom learning. I see that there's a narrow gate on the journey, and you absolutely have to choose to go through this gate to become a worker, to get to any place further on the journey after this narrow gate. Without choosing to go through this gate and becoming a worker, you are simply seeing more and more levels of heavenly realms, but you're not journeying into them as far as functioning there, not fully. The other thing about this too, I mean, I know that people can function as a king individually and so on, as a lord individually, but it is just not the highest blueprint. I do not see that a whole large group of individuals all sitting in heavenly realms on their thrones all by themselves is the blueprint. It is not the blueprint. The blueprint is that we are one ecclesia. One ecclesia. We all came out of the old, and we can all see the faults of the old, though we honor the old because it was a part of the journey. So we're not bashing it or speaking evil against it. We're just saying there's more than just this. But there is a need to be gathered into the ecclesia to function with others. The 12 did not function as individual apostles. They functioned as the 12 and as individual apostles. There's not meant to be a bunch of isolated king thrones in heavenly realms with isolated individuals sitting on those isolated king thrones. At a certain point on the journey, we are gathered into New Jerusalem. Up until that point, I see us as a family of individuals traveling in one direction together. But with New Jerusalem, we become one. So there's several stumbling blocks here. One is not becoming a worker, not moving into these names. Another stumbling block is staying isolated from the universal ecclesia, not becoming part of the ecclesia by joining. I don't want to use the word join, I'm sorry, it's an old wineskin term, like he's signed on the membership list for the local church. It's not that. You become part of a family group. You become part of a team that is working together. The name ecclesia does not it's not just coming to be for social purposes. It's coming together as team members, co-workers. It has a purpose. It has mandates involved, assigned to an ecclesia to do, and you work together as part of the family, as part of the team, as part of the ecclesia, as part of the house, all those different words. So the stumbling blocks to avoid here are, the one is failure to become a worker. And the second one is being isolated and being on your own. Yes, you can do some things in heavenly realms on your own, but it is not the highest blueprint. And the biggest mandates can only be accomplished as part of an ecclesia that is journeying together into more and more names and higher ways of functioning because of those additional names that we're taking on and becoming. So I highly encourage you to take a look at these 5 names: proclaimer of revealed truth, gatherer of the scattered, explainer of revealed truth, revealer of mysteries, sender. See the one that you have the most affinity for, the most desire for right now, and begin there. Once you've begun in one, functioning in one name, move into functioning into other names, and you can see from my explanation of the names how they all function together in building the ecclesia. You proclaim, then you gather, then you explain, and all of this is built on functioning and revealing of mysteries. Further, more and more mysteries revealed that we actually see for the first time and then journey into functioning in. This whole thing ties together. And again, becoming a worker, start working in the various names of the apostle of the sent sender is a narrow gate on the journey that we all need to go through to get further along on the journey. And the ecclesia is not made up of scattered individuals in heavenly places sitting on their throne doing their individual mandates. It is made up of all these individuals sitting on thrones together as part of the universal ecclesia and as part of smaller groupings of the universal ecclesia that are all, each ecclesia is functioning in mandates assigned to them and has a journey that they're doing together and has work that they are doing together. Okay, so that's the vision with respect to apostle and how it relates to the ecclesia, with the addition of more and more names on top of apostle, but it starts there.